Hi, everybody. Welcome to Never Show the Monster. I'm Kelly Attaway.
And I'm Chelsea Hollander.
And this week we are talking about the second half of Candyman. If you listened to last week's episode, you know that we got overly excited and talked too long about the movie, and we had to split it into 2 episodes. So this week we are covering the second half of the movie. And I kind of want to get you guys' opinion. Your guys, how do you say that? English?
All y'all.
All y'all, I want to get y'all's opinion on length of episodes. Did you like the length of the Velvet Buzzsaw episode? It went long and it was like almost 2 hours. Or would you rather us split it into 2 episodes like we did with Candyman? Find a poll on Twitter. Find us at No Show Monster to find that poll and respond. We'd love to hear your feedback. And now Chelsea's got something she wants to talk about too.
Yeah, hey guys. I just wanted to give you guys a little gift. We got some stickers of our cover art and
our dope cover art, our Ryan Tate art.
Thank you. By Ryan Tate Art. You can find them on Instagram. And I just wanted to see if you guys wanted some sent to you, no cost at all. I'll pay for all postage. But if you just send your address to noshowmonster@gmail.com, I will send you some stickers and a personalized message. So would appreciate it.
The stickers are very cool. I'm excited to get some myself. Gonna have to email noshowmonster@gmail.com.
Yep, that's the only way you're getting them.
All right, so let's get into the episode. Join us to talk about the rest of Candyman, the 2021 flick. Finally at that artsy-fartsy dinner with Brianna that Chelsea and I have been talking about. And the only other thing I wanted to talk about in this scene is they're trying to get her to come out to New York. And this white guy says the line, Clive literally had to die for her to be free. And like, that's not accidental phrasing, you know?
Oh.
You know?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, gross, right?
Yeah. Something that we kind of gleamed over, we didn't talk about, was you also find out earlier that Brianna had a past. Her father was also an artist, and he had jumped out of a window in front of her and had a conversation with her prior to him doing it.
That's what really gets it. Like, yeah. So he was an artist. He was a painter, tortured. Brianna's brother ultimately calls it a psychotic break that he went through, compares it to what Anthony is going through because he's like losing his mind over these Candyman paintings. But we see this in a glimpse earlier in the movie. She has a bad dream about it. So she's remembering that when she was very little, she walks into her father's studio and it's a very dark room and he's sitting in the window, which is brightly lit. It's very illuminated. So like the contrast there is like visually very striking. And so she walks in and he doesn't say what you would think a father would say in that moment. He doesn't say like, hey, why don't you go find your mom or whatever. He says, hey, I bet you didn't know your daddy could fly. And then jumps out the window to his death.
And then she wakes up in the dream.
Saw that. Yeah. Brianna saw that. And so like, just thinking about the rest of the movie through that context, it's also crazy. Like her father was a tortured artist and it drove him to kill himself. And she ultimately still went into the art field.
Yeah.
That's hard.
To that point, Anthony ends up having a psychotic break, basically going a little bit crazy about the whole Candyman thing. Obviously, his body is starting to decompose almost in front of him. Yeah. He thinks he basically sees the Candyman in a new reflection that he has. And then he ends up kind of freaking out. He goes and he talks to little guy. What's his name again?
Billy Burke at the laundromat.
Billy Burke. He goes back to talk to Billy Burke. And then basically, so he's already made all these paintings. And then he doesn't know these portraits that he made were of actual people. He just kind of made these portraits based on what was happening in his head. So then he goes and talks to Billy Burke. And that's when he explains to him, there are more of them. There are more men that this is associated with. So he even tells the story of the Candyman that you know about from 1992
from the
movie. Is it 1992? 1999?
It must be before 92.
No, I think it was in the 90s.
I think it was 90s? I thought it was 80s.
No, I think it was 90s. I looked at it earlier today.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I could be wrong. Let me...
I'm trying to just think about her hair. Yeah, maybe her haircut was a 90s haircut.
When he's talking to the little guy about it, he ends up getting a brief that this is multiple people. Basically, I think he's trying to say that Candyman was multiple people throughout time.
And this sort of goes back to my Tulpa thought process and the collective unconsciousness. Like all of these different, and Anthony's art piece, like all of these different things are happening in this same place, but it's the same patterns repeating themselves. And so like whoever you need to be Candyman, like the most recent brutal murder is Candyman. He has a couple lines in this scene. He has 3 that I want to talk about. Ooh. Like he gets some incredible lines in this scene. He says Candyman is the whole damn hive. So like Candyman is not just one of these people, one of these bees, I guess, but like he is everybody. All of these people are and have been and will be Candyman. So Candyman is an idea, not an individual person. He goes on to talk more about Helen Lyle's Candyman, or maybe the original Candyman.
I was trying to figure out because Helen Lyle's, they said it was a portrait painter who ended up painting a woman.
Yeah, Helen Lyle's Candyman.
But they said it was like in the early 1900s?
Early 1900s.
Okay. I was like, I remember that one being really early, but isn't that one from like not the 1900s, like the 60s or something? Maybe I was wrong on how I'm
not sure. I would have to watch it again and pay better. This scene is sort of like, it's a little bit hard to follow. So we learned that the first Candyman back in the 1900s was a... Sorry, I was just thinking the 1900s, like 1999.
That was a half cry on that one. Oh, jeez. Oh, it hurts.
A long time ago, the original Candyman was a portrait painter, black man, and he falls in love with the white daughter of some royalty, and
she gets pregnant.
She gets pregnant and they brutally murder him in the streets and wipe honeycomb on his bare chest so that the bees are attracted and like sting him a fuck ton. So like that's where the bee imagery comes from.
So I have 2 things to say about that. I think they explain it better in the original film because when I think of somebody rubbing honeycomb, I was like, well, the bees produce the honeycomb, so would they sting? They don't eat honeycomb.
I don't.
And they describe it in the first film. They're like a bunch of hungry bees, so they put the honeycomb all over him. And I was like, what bees are eating honeycomb?
I don't know.
Do I not understand bees? I'm not
I don't. I know that I don't.
I was going to say epidemiologist. That's for viruses. What is it?
Hold on. I can do this.
No, bugs.
Hold on.
Not the study of words.
I know. That's what I'm trying to think of. Etymology is words.
Okay.
Entomology. Entomology is bugs. Entomology.
Oh, God.
So in this scene in the laundromat with Billy, he's describing OG Firsto Candyman, and he has another great line. The white people loved what the painter was producing, but like once he integrated, I didn't even mean to use such a loaded word as integrated. Once he became involved in their society, they were not having it. And his line was, they love what we make, but not us. And like this scene really clinches a lot of the movie's theses, I think. He also, as he's describing more of the murders in the community, he says, a pain like that lasts forever. That's Candyman. So like that's really what we've been talking about. Like Candyman is not one human individual. It's the repeated practices. Pain. It's to put a fine point on it, it's systemic racism is what Candyman is. Like I just thought that scene was really drove home those points. And we'll learn in a minute that Billy is a lot.
Yeah, is a lot. Billy.
So Brianna eventually finds all of these portraits that Anthony is doing that Chelsea was describing earlier, all of the portraits of the dead men and the community. And she's like, what the fuck is this? Like, they're very traumatic paintings. And Anthony is like, you'll never believe me. I'm freaking out. And she realizes that he's obsessed with Candyman. And she's like, it's not real. It's not real. You're losing your mind. It's not real. And she tries to summon Candyman. And Anthony freaks out, breaks all of the mirrors in the room. And Brianna, like, that's very violent. So Brianna is like, stay there. Don't touch me. Don't follow me. She leaves and flees to her brother's house. And her brother has an incredible line. Do you remember it?
I don't know. I thought you were going to say an incredible house, because I agree. His house was also beautiful.
Also, his house was incredible. Yes. But I want to talk about this line.
I remember him saying it's not real. Was it that one?
Yeah, he says it's for sure not real. Like, she's telling him the story of Anthony freaking out, and he's like, girl, that ain't real. I'm saying girl to Anthony, not to Brianna. Like, Brianna knows it's not real. And the brother, God, what is his name?
Wow. Okay. We're terrible with names. Sorry, guys.
Toby? Troy. But Troy has an incredible line. He's like, he's been sort of derisive of Anthony this whole time. And he says, ain't a dick on the planet good enough to offset a demonology hobby.
Oh, yeah. I do remember that one.
And I was like, I mean, there's probably a couple. I don't know.
I mean, I love Supernatural. All of them that they could get it. I don't know.
But this is a very painful scene because Troy, I thought tastelessly, was like, our mom wants to close our storage unit, so we have to sell our dad's paintings.
On top of that, or show it. Yeah.
Show it.
And she was like, the fuck no.
Yeah, she was like, I'm not doing a show of what killed him.
He's like, fine.
Yeah. So
no, he was like, don't let it keep bothering you. And I was like, man, maybe that's not something that you need to.
Now is not the time. Don't bring that up right now.
Yeah, where were we?
The rest of the movie goes kind of quickly. So we are at do you remember the board?
Oh, the bathroom. Yeah.
From the gallery earlier. So there was that bored teen at the gallery opening with the medicine cabinet painting from Anthony. We now see her in high school with her dumb friends. And she's like, oh, sorry, I didn't think well of her, so I was doing a Valley Girl voice. She is like, let's do Candyman. Let's summon Candyman.
Can we talk about what first she does? So she's putting on lipstick, and then she puts lipstick on the mirror, and then on her lips, and then kisses it, and then I just does that mean something? Is that a symbol for something?
Oh, I thought it was a symbol for like vapidity. I thought she was. You know what I thought it was like.
Because I just thought it was a big waste of makeup. I just couldn't really afford makeup in high school. So,
oh no,
I mean, I wouldn't have worn lipstick, but
I wouldn't
probably expensive.
Like, I wouldn't do that with lipstick today. That is very expensive. What I sort of look at it as now, I don't know that I thought about this the first time, but it's like she seemed so bored in the gallery, and I think that was an indication of how bored she is. Like overall, like with life. So if anything, I read it as sort of like a suicide note. Like,
oh, interesting.
And maybe that's just me being like a sad sack. Like, I don't know if the movie intended that, but she like makes this little kissy face and then immediately is like, let's summon Candyman, which is supposed to murder us. So she gets her little friends together and they're all summoning Candyman at the same time. And like various members of this group of white kids, it's like 5 white kids. Various members try to leave the group.
One of them does.
Only one manages to escape. So they summon Candyman and then they're like, ha ha ha, nothing happens. And then this black girl comes into the bathroom and she's just trying to pee. And these white kids are like being mean to her for no reason.
Yeah, they started just calling her a drunk and saying stuff about her.
Oh, I didn't get that. I didn't think she was a drunk at all.
They called her a drunk, and I was like, I don't know.
No,
is that projection? Or you guys
I don't think they did.
Parents?
Did they? I don't think
they totally called her a drunk. And I was like, that's a weird accusation for a child.
She wasn't, though.
Yeah, I agree. There was no part of her that seemed drunk. And then she had headphones on.
Did you watch with subtitles?
No, I didn't.
So I did. I don't think they called her a drunk.
Oh, okay. Well, I hear what I want to hear. This is projection, man. I can't.
I don't know. They were being mean to her. And she just like got her headphones on. She's holed up in the stall.
If you're anything like me, you guys understand how that is whenever you're in high school and people are being pretty shitty and you just go into a stall and you put on your noise-canceling headphones. I did not have noise-canceling headphones. Mm-mm. I had headphones and you would just hang out in the stall for a little bit and be like, I'll just wait. You just hang out in the stall.
I spent like junior high lunches in the bathroom stall because I didn't have friends to sit with. That was embarrassing.
I hung out in teachers' rooms, so.
Oh my god, so did I. My 6th grade history teacher called me his TA.
No.
Or maybe 8th grade. Maybe that was 8th grade. Anyway, she's in the stall. These white kids are clearly punks. So they go to try to open the door. It won't open, and Candyman comes and murders them all pretty gruesomely. It's a slaughter. And I know that this is canon from some of the earlier movies. I know that this is established. but him floating really turns me off. I don't like that.
Is that established from the earlier movies? Does he float in the earlier movies?
I think he does in like the sequels. He doesn't in the original one.
Oh, okay. Because it's been a long time since I've seen the sequels. Are the sequels a love story? Is there a love story in the sequels? Okay.
No, there was something. None at all.
Whenever I watched the original one again, I was like, oh, I thought this was a love story. Or maybe I just have a really weird idea of what love is. I should talk to a therapist about that. Anyway, let's carry on. But you also, so he's floating, but you don't see him directly head on. You watch the entire scene through a compact.
Yeah, through like a makeup compact, the little mirror of a makeup compact. Yeah. So, I hate that floating. Anyway. So after this, Anthony
is there a sound? There's not a sound with this floating, but do you feel like there's a woo? I think we're higher pitched than mine.
I know, but I think it's both.
I feel like mine's a little ominous.
I feel like it's both of our noises together.
Okay, like 1, 2, 3. Let's do it again. Go. Sorry for my old man. I'm gonna start coughing. Sorry, guys.
Any Foley artists out there?
We're just trying to enhance the film.
We're going to release a track that's just like dead noise until all of the floating scenes where we make that noise, and then you can play them both. You can play the movie and our track at the same time and we forget.
Just every time he floats. It's perfect. That will be bonus content. That will be our 1 year. In 1 year, we will match that up. Oh, I'm sweaty now. This is.
I know. I carried so many heavy boxes yesterday, and laughing really hurts my abs.
Okay.
Okay, so Anthony finally fucking goes to a hospital to be like, girl, my hand. And they're like, oh, so glad you came. We need to admit you immediately. And he leaves.
Yeah, I was gonna say in that moment, I thought that I was like, did they give him medicine? Did he do anything? I didn't watch him walk out.
I had the subtitles on. You hear, so he has like a little banter with the nurse. She's like, oh, welcome back. And he's like, what do you mean? And she's like, oh, I saw in your file you were born here. And he's like, that's not right.
I wasn't born here. Yeah.
But she's like, no, you were. And then she says, it's so good you came when you did. We need to admit you immediately. As her voice is fading out and the scene
thought she may have said, you need amoxicillin. Ryan's very against subtitles, so it's really hard to watch movies with him because I'm very pro subtitles.
I need a subtitle. If it's a comedy, I will forego them because of comedic timing.
Oh, yeah.
But he finally goes to the hospital. They're like, hey, yo, you were born here. He's like, no. I got to go investigate that. So he goes to his mom's house. And
if you've watched the first one.
Is this the same?
She's very exact same actress.
Same actress? Okay, good.
Also, another continuation thing, a continuity thing. Her arm is visible.
Yeah.
And she has a scar. And then when I was rewatching, they stabbed her. So she has a scar exactly where she was stabbed. And I was like, that is some sweet, sweet continuity.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Oh, yeah. Felt good.
Oh, so pleasant. So same actress. He goes back to see his mom, who was in the original Candyman. And Anthony is starting to put it together. We told you we were going to talk about this baby again.
I was going to say, did you guys put it together? Have you put it together yet?
So he is finally like, so I know Helen Lyle, there was a baby who was taken and Helen Lyle allegedly took him. Where'd that baby go? He's figuring out that it is him. So he goes to his mom and is like, I'm gonna need some deets and tails. And so she tells him like, Helen, I thought that Helen took you. I thought that she was crazy. But turns out Helen brought you back to me. It was Candyman who took you. Oh, and there's a really great scene where he says Candyman and she like gasps and shakes her head. And she's like, no, we don't say that. We don't say that. And so she talks about a pact that the community made never to say Candyman ever again. sort of to keep the community safe, but also to keep Anthony the baby safe. And so she's like, somebody broke the pact and now he's back and he's after you. Like, why did Candyman, he had a plan for you. He took you when you were a baby. He had a vision for you and now he's back.
Okay, is that because you were watching with captions? Because I heard he wanted you to be a victim. Was it vision? I am not watching these without freaking captions ever again because I watched a different movie apparently because I can't hear things. Okay, vision. That makes more sense because I was like, victim doesn't make sense. Why would he not just go ahead and murder him?
Yeah, babies are easy to murder. No, he had a plan for him.
But in the first movie, he did talk to the woman and she had to accept that she was a victim. He like terrorized her and she was like, you want to be a victim? You want to be my victim?
Candyman had to talk to Helen, you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Candyman constantly talked to Helen. He was like, I want you to be my victim, but you have to willingly be my victim.
No, Candyman wanted Helen to like come raise this baby with her.
What?
Yeah.
He kept saying, do you want to be my victim? I want you to be my victim.
Did you watch it with subtitles?
God damn it. Okay, I'm going to rewatch it with subtitles next episode, guys. Just kidding. We're not going to go back over it.
So Anthony learns that he was kidnapped baby from the Helen Lyle story, storms off, and we go visit Brianna. Like, we don't know where Anthony goes. We go see Brianna, and she's also like, where the fuck did Anthony go? So she's like, oh, I can't.
She also had a weird conversation with the art gallery lady who also wanted her to show her father's art.
Yeah, the art gallery lady was like, oh, you have such an interesting history. What with your father? Etc.
Yeah, I don't fully know if that scene was completely necessary, which makes me feel like maybe I missed something.
I think that
because it seems like a lot more of this movie is more intentional than I had originally thought.
I think that scene contributes to the end of the movie, to the way Brianna reacts at the end of the movie. Okay. So Brianna is like, I can't find Anthony, remembers that he mentioned, like, finds a pen for the laundromat that Billy, the little guy, owns. And so she's like, oh, let me go check there. So because
obviously if I find a pen with a business name on it, that is exactly where he's going to be.
Well, she's been like making phone calls and she can't find him anywhere. So she's like, okay, well, let me check the laundromat. So she establishes that she's been making phone calls, sees the pen, goes to the laundromat, finds Anthony's beanie on the laundromat on like the back room office.
Yes.
And then like, oh, so she's about to get kidnapped. But before that, there's this really great comedic scene where she's like poking around in the back room office looking for anybody. She's looking for Burke. She's looking for Anthony. And she opens a door that leads down to the basement. And the camera is like down the steps of the basement. So the screen is almost entirely dark. And it's just Brianna illuminated in the doorway. And she goes, nope, and closes the door.
I loved that moment. Because I was like, oh, I know what's gonna happen. And then I was like, oh, okay, you did the thing you're supposed to do. Thank you. I guess that's one of the good things about this movie is that not most reactions definitely would have gone to the hospital earlier, but a lot of the reactions are very logical.
Yeah, it's very true to life. So she abandons the office, tries to leave, door is locked. And we like...
How does the door lock? So that's my other question. Magic. Okay. That's how I answer most things. So once you said that, I agree. Okay, that works.
I don't know. She can't get out. She's like banging on the door. And so the camera pans out to like be at the eye line of the one patron of the laundromat, but she's got her headphones in so she can't hear. And we see Brianna get kidnapped. And it looks like she gets kidnapped by Candyman. Like, we see it so fast, and he's, like, wearing a camel-colored shirt, so it looks like it's Candyman grabbing her. We very quickly realized that it was not Candyman. It was Billy Burke, the owner of the laundromat. It's little guy. And we, like, wake up in that church that Anthony was photographing earlier, and Billy is, like, I think he's in a psychotic break. He's like blinking crazy and moving his lips crazy. And I recently learned that blinks like that can be a symptom of long-term antipsychotic use.
Oh.
And I learned that because for the home listener, I take an antipsychotic.
Are you blinking a lot? Is that what you're...
I do. I have crazy blinks. Yeah, I think it's a symptom of those. So those only started recently. And when I see myself on Zoom, I'm like, quit blinking.
I'll start mimicking your blinks when you see them. So then if you see me do them, maybe you'll be conscious.
I don't know. And
are you just I Dream of Jeannie right now?
Yeah, I'm like,
what? There's a donkey. I don't know why a donkey was the first thing I thought. What year did I watch I Dream of Jeannie? I don't know what's happening.
But I've like, I don't know, like been intimate with somebody and like laying my head on their chest and they're like, I can feel you blinking.
Whoa.
I'm like, I know I've got crazy antipsychotic blinks like Billy, the little guy from Candyman.
And then he whispered in your, I love Candyman.
Sweet. So we find Brianna. She's like tied up in a pew in this church, and Anthony is like Blair Witching it against the back wall of the church. And Billy Burke is like a zealot. He's like going off about how like we need a witness for what's about to happen. We're making a new Candyman, and he calls the police, fakes a sighting of Anthony, because at this point the police are like, wow, there sure are a lot of murders around the Say My Name piece of art, so like we really need to find this artist.
And the last person that saw most of these people was
him, Anthony.
Yeah. And to that point, is Anthony Coco? Is Coco Anthony?
Anthony's
Maybe
a little more involved.
Okay, fine.
I think Brianna is Coco.
That's true. She does always show up whenever it happens.
And Anthony is Dee's?
Dee's nuts.
Dee's nuts.
No, I guess that tracks, because Dees would be the one who created the paintings in which the murders revolve around. And they all revolve around Anthony. Mm-hmm. And the art that he created. Damn, we watched the same movie twice. Oh.
So Billy is like, okay, Brianna, you're here to like witness what's going to happen. And Anthony finally turns around and he is looking so bad. He like, not just his hand is fucked, but like the whole right side of his face. We're in a bad state. I don't know. What's the phobia of like things with holes in it?
Yeah, I don't know. I was trying to think of it, and then I was like, I want to Google it, but I don't want to see the pictures. I don't think I have that phobia, but I don't like thinking about it.
I don't like it.
You're gonna hear me type.
It's like that.
Oh my god, phobia of holes was the top. Triphobia. Trypophobia.
Is there not another T? I thought it was tripta.
It says trypophobia. Fear of holes.
His skin is like
tryphobia. It is all holes. It is honeycomb, as you described earlier.
Yeah, it is like honeycomb.
Yeah, he does look like honeycomb. They're definitely. Oh, and if you look up tryphobia, it gives you pictures of honeycomb. So honeycomb. Maybe that is what triggered everyone to start feeling like they had a fear of holes. You know, it was mostly those like seed pod things, but...
Oh, we hate it. And Burke is like... So, not only is his skin crazy, but like his right eye has gone gray. And he's like clearly not present. Like Anthony is gone. Brianna is like, Anthony. And he's not responding. He's like 1,000-yard stare.
So you had it with captions. I'm going to have to keep asking you questions since you watch it with captions. I promise next movie I will watch with captions. Does he not say that he drugged him? Did he not drug him? Or did I just make assumptions? I made assumptions, didn't I?
I didn't get that.
Okay, I gotcha. Assumptions. I'm there.
You may totally be right, though, because like that's a question I have is like, why did Anthony come to this church? Why is he so out of it? He was very out of it. Like Burke saws off his hand and inserts a hook to make Candyman, and all Anthony does is like cry a single tear, you know? So like maybe he did and I just missed it, even with subtitles. I'm not sure.
But you find out there that Billy, the little guy, has been waiting for the kid to come back.
Yes, he's been waiting for this child to come back. He wants to make another Candyman. He wants the community to have this force of... It's not good.
And that's what I want to understand about this movie, because I feel like it's also different from the first Candyman. Is Candyman a protector of that community? Yes. Because that's the final scene, is he makes you feel like he's a protector of the community.
Yes. But the community is also terrified of him.
Yes. But I can't tell if it sounds like what the little guy is trying to do is create this to keep people in line and to also protect them. Because if they don't have that fear, they won't. I don't know. Because it seems like they need him in order to have a kind of protector.
Mm-hmm. I think
it's not good.
I think that a big part of the confusion is that this is a remake wherein they are very clearly making him a protector. Like throughout the movie, Candyman only kills people who were like being pretty
blatantly
shitty.
racist.
Yeah. And I don't know that that was true for the original.
I think that that's accurate, but it's like, even with the original, it's still, I don't know. I guess it's the kind of like, oh, this person faced such brutality that you kind of understand their anger and their need, not their need to kill. I'm not 100% not justifying that. But in horror movie sense, he did still get brutally murdered by a bunch of people. Vengeance, I guess it's all about vengeance in that case.
But like, yes, you're right. It is all about vengeance. And this movie, the 2021 remake, like makes it very clearly like white people have perpetrated these crimes for centuries at this point.
Except this is the part that confuses me. And audience, if you know the answer to this and if you understand it better than I do, please reach out and let us know, because, or maybe I'll watch a YouTube that explains the ending that I didn't watch, because you know how you get those YouTube videos that are like, watch me explain the ending of this movie. And I'm like, I don't need to watch that. I'm not dumb. Sometimes I am, and it's fine.
Sometimes I'm pretty dumb.
Yeah, and this might be one instance. Little guy, his sisters were killed. Or his sister and his sister's friend. But they didn't seem to be doing anything wrong.
No, you're right. They just summoned Candyman.
That is the weirdest one, because everything else I was like, this matches, this tracks, this makes sense. He's a protector. Love it. Got it. I'm into it. But the only thing that doesn't track to me is the sisters.
You're right. The sister. Okay. So I am maybe reaching. I'm going back to Billy, little guy, being like, I think that he was medicated at some point.
Yeah.
And so maybe he like...
Do you think he was medicated because of the trauma he experienced whenever the Candyman got killed? I think
because of the trauma, and I think that in trying to make sense of the trauma, he has invented this new idea of Candyman who is a protector, and now we've got a new type of tulpa. I'm on my own bullshit right now. Like, I don't know if this is what the movie means or intended, but I know what I believe. I know what my headcanon is.
Also, A+ at this movie for making us want to know, like want to assign meaning or want to figure it out. Like that, to me, is a sign of a good movie, is us reaching and trying to figure out why it is what it is. Yeah, there were definitely parts, because like I went through each, because you know how we always go through each of the murders and like how we feel about the murders. This was one where I was like, okay, all of them are white people who have either said something blatantly racist or have been just completely shitty human beings.
Yeah, except for that flashback. You're right.
Except for the flashback, which is the one person who's pushing it. Which is strange to me.
And I'm just doubling down on my reasoning now, because even as he was a kid, he was like obsessed with the policing of the Black community by white police officers. So why not? But okay, so in that flashback, he's like trying to play with his sister. Sabrina was her name. Like they're summoning Candyman in the bathroom, and they're like, no, you can't play. No, you can't play. You're a little kid. And when they are killed, he opens the door and catches a glimpse of Candyman in the window. And even then, he's a Black man. So like, as a kid, he saw a Black man murder his Black sister. So where did the idea of him as a protector of the Black community come from? I think it must have been a trauma response.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's... Yeah, I just don't know how...
I'm really trying to make it work.
Yeah, that was the only part that like, I couldn't.
Yeah.
And I wanted it to, because I was like, but maybe that's something that I'm not supposed to get. I don't know.
We are two people who pass as white ladies. You're like actually a white lady.
I was like, I could not be whiter. I'm sorry, everyone. Yeah. I am very white. I am the whitest you could probably be.
My
skin is nearly translucent.
I might
You're
as well
partially not.
I'm partially not, but I'm also like I'm a little bit Mexican and the rest Irish. So like it is rare that somebody looks at me and is like, "Oh, Latina?" It is pretty rare. The rest of the time, people are like, "Ooh, you need some SPF 90."
You can be both.
Yeah, but I have had the benefit of being, like, I live my life as a white lady. So I guess I also don't know. Maybe we need to revisit this.
Yeah. I agree. And I've loved digging into this movie, and I think it was amazing. But I think the perspective that I can't get is that of somebody, a person of color that has been through something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that if we can revisit this movie in the future, I think it would be, I think it would be awesome.
So we are at Brianna running away. She makes an escape from the pew. She runs away. Burke follows her, which was bad news for Burke. She like murders the shit out of him.
Also, why did she let her keep the pen? Did he not check?
He didn't check her pocket.
First and foremost, he used duct tape, but he just did like one fucking layer. I'm sorry. I'm not going to murder anyone or tie anyone up. You might need to cut this part out. But one layer, man. And you didn't even like wrap it. And I was like, and then you just wrapped it to that. And then she just sawed through with that pen, and you didn't even check her pockets. That pen could have been a knife. Pen. Oh, and then I did make a comment, and I was like, is the pen mightier than the sword?
Oh my God, Chelsea.
I know.
The pen is mightier than the sword.
Guys, I know that we just talked about us being white, but I think I'm driving it home right now.
So she like murders the shit out of him with this pen. It's like real overkill. Like she's getting after it. And Anthony, Candyman, the new Candyman, comes in the door and is like, I think he's dead.
So Anthony's kind of he's not like back to being himself, but he's just kind of out of it still. But he's there.
But he remembers himself and he remembers her. So
and once again, at this point, even though Anthony has a weird fucking hook as a hand, has not hurt anyone.
No, not at all.
He has not hurt anyone.
Like, so he comes over to her and she's scared, but
she sees his humanity still there.
She remembers the Anthony that she loves. And then the police arrive, right? Because Billy called them saying that he had spotted Anthony. And so they've arrived on this tip. And she screams for them. And I was like, no, don't.
Yeah.
Don't shout for the police. So the police come in. No questions. No, like, there's no hesitation. It's just gunfire. And they gun down Anthony. Even though it's not like they're both standing. Like, Anthony has fainted. And he is in Brianna's arms. Like, he is on the ground. There is not a threat. Like, not that even if he was standing, that's an excuse. Like, even if he was up, you don't come in and like start shooting.
He was like basically a passed out beanbag. Like there was no threat.
But him. Even if he had been totally alert, like standing, that doesn't. You don't.
The
go
first
in
instinct shouldn't be that. Yeah.
So they kill him. They murder him, and Brianna is shocked. Just stunned. She does great in this scene. She's like, she doesn't know what's just happened. She's looking at her blood-covered hands, and they arrest her. They put her in the back of the police car, and this fucking asshole cop gets in the car and is like, here's what I saw. I saw that Anthony rushed toward my police officer and was a threat, and so they regrettably had to shoot. Is that what you saw? And she doesn't respond. And he's like, okay, so the other story is that you were an accomplice and you held down all of his victims while Anthony murdered them.
It was also an interesting moment whenever he had first said that to her, because the moment that she was not responding to what he said, it was that she seemed in shock that this was happening.
Yeah.
That this was a part of what was going to happen. She was just like, oh, it's finally happened.
Right. She was like you see this on the news, you see this in movies, and now it's happening. Like my partner was just gunned down in my lap, and I'm being forced to say that he was a bad guy or to give up my life. Like I can either betray Anthony or go to jail.
Yep.
But there's a third option, which is, can I see myself in the mirror one last time? And then she summons.
Like, no.
Yeah.
First he was like,
no.
No. And she was like, I'll do whatever you say.
I'll say whatever you want. Just let me look at myself. And so she summons Candyman, and Anthony comes as Candyman. Hook for a hand. He's got the camel colored coat with the fur along the collar. Candyman comes. It's another slaughter. Kills all of these police officers.
Do we see this one? We don't see this one in a reflection.
No,
this is the only one that's
Anthony
not seen in a reflection.
But something interesting in this scene with reflections, Anthony as Candyman does a circle. He does a walk around the car that Brianna is in. And in every car window, his reflection is a different victim, is a different Candyman.
Oh, yeah. I do remember that. That was very well done.
Yeah.
Because then that's your notification. The thing that tips you off to them, he is now all of them. He is now the hive.
All of them. He's now the hive. That was really interesting. And I didn't notice that in my first watch through. So I was glad to see that. I guess this is the end of the movie.
Well, the end of the movie is the the best part. Hasn't happened yet. She gets out. She gets out. And then, he murders the
bad cop.
Yeah, that entire scene is kind of intense because he almost thinks he's going to get away with it, and he doesn't, and he doesn't get away, and he gets murdered. So she goes up to him after he's murdered all these people, and then the bees, he's covered in bees, and then the bees leave, and then it's the original Candyman! And I saw it, and I screamed, and I was like, I'm so happy!
Yeah, it's original Candyman, and he says, tell everyone.
Oh, so good.
But here's my worry with the end of the movie. As he's saying, tell everyone, there are police sirens in the background. Obviously, one of these cops who were murdered fired off a call for backup in the midst of it. And my worry is Brianna about to be arrested and tried for a dozen murders. She's still
that'd be so impressive if she did that with her hands still handcuffed, because he never let her out, and I was like, she's not gonna be let out, she's not gonna run away.
These cops of Cabrini Green, they're not gonna listen to logic. She was handcuffed, well, whatever, she's a black woman, she did it. I'm worried for Brianna at the end of the movie. How's she gonna get out of this?
So there's the second movie, and it's just Brianna and Coco on trial.
And then, I don't even want to see Brianna and Coco on trial. I want to see them having escaped to the Caribbean or something, living a life on the beach.
I'm glad you also thought of a tropical existence. Yeah, I was like, because I saw them on the beach, having Mai Tais or something.
I want them to be having
we went through this traumatic experience vacation. And now we're best friends.
I don't know how they got together.
Maybe they get together and have a podcast about horror movies.
Oh, fun. Well, yeah. Okay, fun.
I was going to ask you questions. Did you ever play the Candyman game as a child?
No, I'm still scared.
No, don't do it.
I'm not going to. I also can't do Bloody Mary. I'm too
That's
scared.
Fine. That's how I am too. But can I talk about the fact that my apartment is made up of only mirrors? Yeah. And I don't know if it's the OCD anxiety that has rooted itself so deep in my childhood. I can deal with it now because I have dealt with those demons a little bit. But having mirrors where I sleep, having mirrors where I exist, freaks me out.
Dude, I don't
freaks me out. So that was the thing. I was just I can't. How is this? And watching this movie, and I love the point of Brianna and her brother both being it doesn't exist. It doesn't matter. But still, they didn't want anybody to say it around them. And I'm don't even chance it.
Exactly. They don't believe in it, but don't fuck with it. That's how I feel. Oh my God, I have a little bit of a story to tell you.
I'm so excited.
So, Ouija boards, would you let one in your house?
Well, I did once whenever I was a child, and it was my cousins, my cousins, and my brother. And we did do a Ouija board, and then we asked them, who would you go to the mall with and stuff like that. And it was just dumb stuff. However, my friend, she did one time want to bring a Ouija board to a party at my apartment. And I said, you cannot come to my party. She is one of my best friends, and I love her more than most people. But I was if you bring that into my apartment, I will never speak to you again. I'm so sorry, but I draw the line there.
I'm not.
And I was I'm not saying that it happens. It might not happen. It probably won't. But I am drawing this line.
Would I go to a seance with a Ouija board? Maybe.
Would you bring it into your own home?
No, that's a no. I only maybe believe. I'm not a devout believer. I'm not.
We're not going to pull Candyman or the Unholy. We're not going to put power into it. No. We're not going to give it anything.
Exactly. That exists and people have fun with that, and that's great. I'm not going to do that. But I do the Ouija board imagery. I like the wooey woo-ness of it. So somebody a few years ago gave me like a big planchette for like Christmas or something. And a planchette is like the little device you use on a Ouija board that has the cutout in it.
Is it eye?
The eye. Yeah. So you can like see what letter it's pointing to. And I loved that planchette. And that's like, that can come in my house. And that's like, hey, I'm interested in the supernatural, but like planchette alone is not dangerous. That can be in my home. And I had it displayed in my kitchen. So nothing super spooky happened, but I had a house cleaner in because I was too depressed to clean my own house. So I had someone in to help, and now it's gone. And I wonder if they were like, but I wonder if they were like superstitious and got rid of it. Like, I wonder if they were like, no, you cannot have this in your home, and got rid of it.
She might be doing you a favor. I don't know.
Like maybe there's more to
or he. I don't know the gender.
It was a lady. She was great. She did an excellent job, and I like cried afterward because I needed the help so bad. Yeah. So I just wonder, like, did she just take that out to the garbage? Yeah. You know, like, where'd that go?
She just thought it was something
evil, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, she didn't say anything, but
maybe she assumed that it had an attachment to a board. And she was like, if I remove one item and I can't find the other item. Yeah, maybe
she thought the board was here, and she was like, yeah, maybe.
Maybe she also looked for the board and tried to get rid of that as well.
Because, like, when she came in, I was like, I'm just going to be out on the balcony. Shout if you need me.
And she was like, I'm just going to be burning the sage. Please don't mind me.
Yeah, totally possible. I don't know. She was incredible.
Hopefully she threw it away. Otherwise.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
The story might be more nefarious.
Could be. Ooh,
oh my God, this is our longest episode. So can I say thanks for sticking around? I know that the beginning was a little bit slow, but we really picked up there at some point. And we hope you guys watch the movie and enjoy it. And I rented it on Amazon Prime. So yeah, I'm always going to tell you guys where we get the movies. Coming up, I think the next movie we're watching is
Color Me Blood Red.
Yes. Have you gotten access to it?
No, it's on an app that I've never heard of. I haven't even looked for it yet.
That makes me concerned. Okay. I might have to look up I might have to go to that one rental place. So we're going to be watching Color Me Blood Red, which is a movie that you guys might not be able to get a hold of, and we're really sorry. So please listen to it. It's got a very low rating, so you might not miss anything if you don't watch it, and it might be really funny to hear us talk about it.
I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a fun movie.
I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, well, thank you for coming to Never Show the Monster. Like Chelsea said, next week we're going to be talking about Color Me Blood Red. It is a 1965 flick, and it looks goofy as all hell, so join us. And once again, I'm Kelly Attaway.
I'm Chelsea Hollander.
And you can find us on Twitter at NoShowMonster. You can email us at noshowmonster@gmail.com. Our Instagram is also NoShowMonster, and we're going to be posting a lot of art this week. So come join us in all the social medias, and we will see you next week. Thanks. Have a good night. Bye.
Bye.